everybody, it's 2020. That feels really weird. 10 years have just gone by so fast. And you know the old cheesy thing that people are doing at New Year's, whenever there's a New Year's, regardless of whether it's the start of a decade or just the start of a regular year, they go back over everything that's happened over the decade. And as cheesy as that is, this decade a lot has happened for me. And there's one story in particular that I've been encouraged recently to tell you guys, and the reason for it is because you guys are kind of involved in this. So I'm going to start from the beginning and hopefully you guys will be able to follow this. I don't know if any of you guys believe in fate or, you know, things that are kind of put in line because of some kind of spiritual force, you know. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I do believe that there are some preordained events that occur, but our choices in life affect that. It's not like it's fixed or set in concrete or anything, but you know, I do believe in this stuff. And this story in particular, if you don't believe in that stuff, this story in particular may change your mind. I'm not going to tell you what to think or what not to think, but this is just from my experience and I just want to tell this story. It's very strange, but in a very good way, trust me. So, starting in 2010, I have my little, well, it's not little, it's like an A4 sketchbook, and I've taken some notes down on just some of the main things that have happened in not every year of this decade, but almost every single one. And to start with, in 2010, for those that don't know, I attended art school for 5 years. I studied contemporary fine art, and in 2010, that was the year I graduated. And, you know, at the time I was doing various part-time jobs and doing freelance artwork on the side, and then in 2011 I started up my YouTube channel. I didn't really take it all that seriously. It was still fairly new to me around that time. I didn't really watch a lot of YouTube stuff then. When I started up, I discovered various reviewers online, you know, the ones that most people know are Saber Sparks, Lindsay Ellis. There's various other analysts and reviewers that I watched at that time, Angry Video Game Nerd, you know, so many other people, including people that reviewed video games, not just animated movies and TV shows, and live action movies too, just various ones. Fayless for one of them, one of my favourite YouTubers ever. Around that time, I thought maybe that was something I could get into, because I love talking about animated movies and TV shows and video games. I love geeking out about that kind of stuff with my friends. In 2013, I'll be honest with you, was a very, very dark year for me, because, you know, 3 years out of college I was working retail jobs that I hated, and they weren't exactly, you know, creatively stimulative or anything. They didn't pay a lot and I wasn't getting enough hours, so I wasn't really getting much savings. I didn't have much of a social life, and around that time a lot of my friends were moving away. They were getting married, or, you know, they were moving to a different country or a different town or whatever, and it was mostly friends that I really related to in regards to we had similar interests. So it was like the people that I would geek out with about comic books and, you know, like Marvel and DC stuff, Dark Horse, or whatever else that took my fancy, you know, like fantasy, science fiction, horror, you know, all that kind of stuff. These key friends in my life were leaving, so I thought I need to find another way to express my passion about this stuff. And so I decided that because I saw other people do it on YouTube, I thought, maybe I could do the same thing. So in 2013, I did start to take my YouTube channel more seriously. So I started off looking at video games I enjoyed, analysing those, focusing more on the art aspect back then. I don't so much focus on that now, but back then I definitely did. The very first proper video review that I uploaded was for the video game the Batman video game Arkham Asylum, and I believe I did one for Arkham City as well, and then I started to make videos about Disney movies and some anime movies. Sadly, those anime movie videos aren't up on YouTube anymore because YouTube is dumb. Then, you know, as I said, it was a very dark time in my life, and YouTube was my way to just focus all of that negativity and channel it into something positive. So then 2013, funnily enough, was also the year that I discovered a show I never thought that I would get into so much. And it is, of course, most of you will probably know this, because most of you will probably have discovered my channel because of the content I made on this show. I discovered My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in 2013, around March. And I just saw like little clips here and there from the show, clips from, let's see, Lesson 0 I believe, where you see Twilight Sparkle is just going crazy and the expressions were just so out there and weird and crazy, and I thought, that's from My Little Pony? Really? That looks like something from a parody. So I thought, I'll watch an episode. So I did watch an episode, but I'll tell you which episode was my first MLP episode I ever watched later. Don't look in the comments about this, or skip ahead. It's very important, trust me. Around the same time that I discovered the show, and because I was watching analysts on YouTube, I also discovered that there's a little niche of analysts that actually focus purely on MLP or animated movies in general. The very first MLP analyst that I watched on YouTube was Dr. Wolf. And I also watched Digibro, or Digibrony as he was known back then, and because of them I discovered other analysts, including Silver Quill and Lightning Bliss and a few others. That was my driving force. I thought, I'm really into this show right now. There's people that are analysing this show in a very deep and surprisingly, they're finding a lot of stuff to really dig into here, and I thought, that's really interesting, I want to do this too. So I did, and because I did that, eventually, long story short, I actually eventually got the chance to work alongside people like Silver Quill, Lightning Bliss and Dr. Wolf. And Digibro, I didn't work with Digibro, but they did send me some very helpful advice on how to develop my scripts more and how to not just be, you know, just reading from a script. You need to be more emotive, you need to be less of a textbook kind of thing. You need to really put yourself into a script, and that was really helpful for me. But also what I really found useful and vital for me to learn was that you don't have to be a big and loud personality to be an analyst or a reviewer, and that was a common misconception that a lot of people fell into the trap of. This formulaic thing where a guy sits in front of a camera and just tears a movie or a TV episode or whatever to shreds, and it's just like play a clip, react, do a joke, react. And if that works for them, that's great, but it felt like so many people, so many reviewers were doing it, it just seemed like that was the only way to do it. So discovering that someone that was a lot, you know, more subdued and quiet, like say Dr. Wolf, I thought, this is more my kind of style of delivery. I'm not big and loud. I don't really want to be that big, you know, loud, angry person reacting to something. Just being so focusing on the negative, focusing more on the positive instead, which is something that I found that was the formula that I really wanted to focus on, and just focus on what I found good about something, what I loved about something, what it taught me, and, you know, just conveying that in a video. And for me, that helped me process all of the positivity of what I was getting from this little kids show, frankly. And you know, because I did all that, I got, as I said, I got to work alongside Lightning Bliss, Dr. Wolf and Silver Quill and a few others on the series Team Fortress 2 Analysis Anarchy, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's it's a bunch of MLP reviewers or MLP YouTubers that basically play TF2 together, but it's scripted as a comedy skit. So the very first episode that I was in for TF2 analysis was called Star Search, and that was done in 2014. So it was just a year after I started YouTube that I got into working alongside these people and joining in this series that was so much fun to write for, and it was so much fun to just have the chance to work alongside people I really admired. I really admired their work, and I loved how welcoming they were, regardless of the fact I was still fairly new to YouTube. I still had a lot to learn, and they really took me under their wing, and I had a lot to be thankful to them for. Also, what happened in 2014, because I watched these YouTubers I mentioned before, more specifically Dr. Wolf, I specify him because it was on one of his videos, I can't remember which one, but it was on one of his videos where someone commented in the comment section about brony meetups, and I thought, I wonder if there's a brony meetup near where I live. So I looked it up, and there was one in Inverness, which is not too far from where I live. So I dropped them a line and say, hey, I would love to come and meet you guys. I do MLP on YouTube and blah blah blah. It would be really nice to meet other people in real life that are into this show as well, and just, you know, talk about that or talk about other things that we all enjoy. And so I met them, and I got really good friends with them. I still am really good friends with them. And one of them, who I will name in this video, Sugar Dove. Hi Sugar Dove, if you're watching. It's her fault. She introduced me to a crazy American called Kick It. Thanks. Kick It, for those that don't know, is my fiance. My now fiance. And Sugar Dove was the one that introduced us. I never would have met Sugar Dove if I hadn't watched Dr. Wolf's video, because the video had a comment on it talking about brony meats. So, there's more to it than that. In 2015-2016, my computer broke, and unfortunately I had no way to fix it and no way to pay for a new one. So a fundraiser was started up to replace it, and it was mostly due to the fact that I worked alongside these YouTubers that they were like, oh, we'll help you promote this, we'll help you out to give you money to get your computer working again, because without a computer I couldn't work. So, you know, I was desperate for help at the time. Unknown to me at that time, KK had actually donated to this, not knowing that the person that Sugar Dove had introduced him to was the same person. He didn't know that he had already been watching my content on YouTube. So, yeah, so that was a funny story. Around the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, he asked me out, and I said yes. After he sent me presents in the mail, and I didn't twig that he actually liked me in that way until he sent me flowers on Valentine's Day in 2017. So that was hilarious. And then also in 2017, I went to my first bronycon, where myself and Kik met for the first time face to face. Who else did I meet there for the first time face to face? Silver Quill, Lightning Bliss, Dr. Wolf, and all of the other TF2 crew. I'm sorry, I can't name everybody. But I was so delighted to meet these people, because, you know, a lot of stuff that happened in 2013 never would have happened if these guys hadn't, you know, made their content in the first place. So I've got a lot to be very thankful for. And in 2018 I attended bronycon again, and this time I spent a month in America instead of just a few days, so that myself and Kik could get to know each other better and to see where it would go, because a long distance relationship is not something you get into lightly. In 2018, it was announced at that specific bronycon that 2019 was going to be the last bronycon. Anyway, it was going to be the last bronycon. And so myself and Kikit looked at each other and said, we have to do it. We can't not do the last bronycon. Why? Because bronycon was where we first met face to face. It was where I met all of the analysis crew face to face, and you know, it was where I met most of my fan base for my channel and realised, oh, this is actually a big deal. So yeah, I was like, we have to do the last one, we can't not do it. Unknown to me at the time, he was plotting behind my back. He decided that the last bronycon was going to be the convention he was going to propose to me at. Now, he knew how much these YouTubers mean to me. They are very dear friends of mine now. They are like, I refer to them as my second family. I really do. I just consider them all like siblings. And he decided that he wanted to propose to me at the TF2 panel in bronycon 2019. So he got in touch with Lightning Bliss and Josh Scorcher and his now wife Ari and a few others and Dr. Wolf to figure out how they could orchestrate this. So Dr. Wolf is my favourite YouTuber ever, and it's like having this kind of friendship with this person as well. It was like, what are the odds of that happening? So the proposal was caught on video, and it was in the TF2 panel, and the even just talking about it, I'm like, how did this, just how? Kikit had made sure that Lightning Bliss and Dr. Wolf and everybody else was involved, but who was the main person to orchestrate how it was going to plan out but Dr. Wolf, and Lightning Bliss caught it on film for us, which I was very grateful for. Thank you so much for doing that. I know it was Doc that actually made sure that it was caught on film because it was his camera, but it was you that filmed it, so I am very, very grateful. Standing next to the person that got me into YouTube in the first place, knowing that I took those steps in 2013 to take myself out of this dark place and discovered these people that are a very big part of my life now. And they were part of the proposal. Kikit made sure they were, and the proposal was just like the best proposal ever because it meant so much to me that he knew how much these people meant to me, and he made sure that they were involved every step of the way, and because without them, we both know we never would have met at all. There's a lot more to this story, but the weirdest part is what the episode was that I watched, the very first My Little Pony episode I watched. Get a load of this is weird. Watching MLP eventually led me to meeting the love of my life. I am moving to America for this person. I'm leaving Scotland, leaving my family, leaving my home to live in America with my fiance, who I adore. And it was all because I watched this stupid show and discovered these analysts, and then, yeah, not only that, but the first MLP YouTuber I discovered, Dr. Wolf, was on that stage orchestrating the proposal to the person that I never would have met without him. And the very first MLP episode I watched was a Canterlot wedding. How? So, the very first episode of MLP I ever watched was a wedding episode, which led me to eventually meeting my now fiance. And the proposal was on stage alongside the people without whom we never would have met, without whom I never would have been doing YouTube in the first place. And it's just all of these stupid coincidences never would have happened unless certain people had taken certain steps to express their love for a stupid kid's cartoon. And I'm not diminishing MLP by any means here. It means the world to me. It's been the vehicle for so many opportunities in my life. It's just ridiculous. It's like trying to explain to someone that doesn't know YouTube, doesn't really watch YouTube, and is not really into animation or not really into movies all that much, trying to explain to them that story, it's impossible. You just can't. So when people ask, how did you guys meet? I just say, oh, we just met online. Which is true, but the story of how it all happened, there's so many steps. And if one person didn't align themselves to channel their creativity at that time, we never would have met. So it's just so silly. Like, there's friends here in Scotland that have been so supportive to me and in our relationship, in our adventure in this. You know, there's Sugar Dove and Lurker Cat and Midnight Scribes and all of these other people that are associated with these people. And Sugar Dove, who actually introduced me and Kick to each other, she is one of my bridesmaids for the wedding, and so is Lurker Cat and Midnight Scribe, and just so many people are just involved. And I really want to keep you guys involved in this because, of course, none of the opportunities and all of the stuff that's come my way would have happened without people like you watching my content. I'm usually a very private person, and I usually prefer to script these things out first so they're a little bit more structured, and it's going to be difficult for me to edit this, but I think it's going to be worth it, and I really want you guys to be more involved. I want to be more open with you guys. I really want to just loosen up a bit, you know, and so that I can express myself in a more free and less linear way, I suppose. So I'm not just focusing in on, I like this movie, I like this TV show and all that. I want to really talk about how talking about this kind of stuff can lead you into other things, and it can impact your life more than you realise. And that's just an example for me on how certain things can't possibly be coincidental. There has to be some kind of spiritual force behind this. It's just, I know most people will just write it off, oh, it's just a bunch of coincidences, just people in the right place at the right time. Yeah, that's true, but it has to be, it must have been orchestrated somehow. And I just wanted to tell you guys that story, and I have no clue what 2020 is going to bring. Well, I know a few things, but in regards to my channel and my content, absolutely no clue. Absolutely none. And I like to keep it that way. I like having an air of mystery. I don't like planning things out to the letter. I like to be flexible. So thank you guys so much for all your support in 2019. If you've been with me since the beginning, thank you so much for still hanging around. And if you're new here, enjoy the adventure along with me, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative. Bye.